A young boy's simple act of kindness, helping a stranded woman change her flat tire, sparks a life-changing event that no one in his struggling family could have foreseen. The next morning, she returns, not just with gratitude but with a surprise so extraordinary, it brings his mother to tears. What starts as a small, selfless gesture leads to an emotional twist that redefines their future. But why does this woman go to such great lengths for a boy she barely knows? Stay tuned to uncover the heartwarming secret that will leave you inspired. But before we dive in, leave a comment and let us know where you are watching from today. And if this story speaks to you, hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. It was a chilly autumn evening in a small, close-knit town where everyone knew each other by name. 14-year-old Jamal Carter was walking home from basketball practice, his sneakers crunching on the fallen leaves scattered across the pavement. Despite the dimming light, Jamal wasn't in a hurry. He enjoyed the quiet moments after practice, dreaming about becoming a professional basketball player one day and helping his hard-working single mother, Angela, who juggled 2 jobs just to make ends meet. As Jamal approached the corner of Elm Street, he noticed a car pulled over to the side of the road. The hood was slightly ajar, and one of the rear tires was flat. A woman, dressed in a sleek business suit, was pacing back and forth, her phone pressed to her ear. The frustration on her face was unmistakable. "Great, just great," she muttered, ending the call with a huff. Jamal, curious and kind-hearted, decided to approach. "Excuse me, ma'am. Do you need help?" he asked, his voice polite but hesitant. The woman, startled, turned to him. She looked to be in her late 30s, her neatly styled hair now slightly disheveled. "Oh, honey, thank you, but I don't think you can help. My tire's flat, and I can't reach roadside assistance." Jamal glanced at the tire and then back at the woman. "I can change it for you," he offered. "My mom taught me how last summer when her car had the same problem." The woman hesitated, scanning the boy from head to toe. His clothes were modest but clean, his eyes earnest and sincere. "Are you sure?" "It's a lot of work," she said. Jamal grinned. "It's no problem, ma'am. You just need to have a spare tire and a jack." She sighed in relief and nodded toward the trunk. "I think there's one in the back." Jamal rolled up his sleeves and got to work. It wasn't easy, the bolts were tough to loosen, and the air was biting cold, but he refused to give up. The woman, who introduced herself as Mrs. Elena Shaw, watched in amazement. Here was a young boy, a stranger, going out of his way to help her when so many others had driven by without a second glance. After about 30 minutes, the new tire was in place. Jamal wiped his hands on his jeans and smiled. "All done, ma'am. You should be good to go now." Elena stared at him, her eyes welling with gratitude. "You have no idea how much this means to me." "Thank you, Jamal." "It's no big deal," he shrugged, embarrassed by the attention. "Just glad I could help." She reached into her purse and pulled out a crisp $50 bill. "Please, take this. It's the least I can do." Jamal shook his head. "No, ma'am. I didn't do it for money. My mom always says we should help people when we can." Elena's heart melted. "Your mom raised you right, Jamal. Thank you again." As she drove away, Jamal continued his walk home, not thinking much of the encounter. To him, it was just the right thing to do. But little did he know, that simple act of kindness was about to change his life forever. The sun shone brightly as Angela Carter prepared breakfast in their modest kitchen. She had just set a plate of scrambled eggs on the table when there was a knock at the door. Frowning, she wiped her hands on a towel and opened it. Standing on the porch was Elena Shaw, holding a large envelope and a basket of baked goods. Behind her was a sleek black car with tinted windows. "Mrs. Carter?" Elena asked with a warm smile. Angela nodded, confused. "Yes, that's me. Can I help you?" "Actually, I'm here because of your son, Jamal," Elena began. She explained what had happened the previous evening, praising Jamal's kindness and resourcefulness. Angela's eyes glistened with pride. "That sounds like my boy," she said, glancing back into the house where Jamal was finishing his breakfast. Elena handed Angela the envelope. "I wanted to do something to show my gratitude. Please, open this." Angela hesitated before tearing it open. Inside was a letter and a set of documents. As she read, Her hands began to shake. Is this real?" she stammered. Elena nodded, her own eyes shining. "Yes, it is. I own a foundation that provides scholarships to deserving young people. Jamal's selflessness inspired me. I want to cover his full tuition to any private school of his choice and guarantee him a spot in our mentorship program." By now, Jamal had come to the door, his eyes wide with disbelief. "A scholarship? For me?" he asked. "Yes, Jamal," Elena said, kneeling to meet his gaze. "I believe in giving opportunities to people who truly deserve them. And you, young man, are one of the most remarkable people I've ever met." Jamal's jaw dropped, and Angela pulled him into a tight hug, tears streaming down her face. "But that's not all," Elena continued. "I also wanted to help your family. This basket contains gift cards to local grocery stores and retailers, enough to cover your household needs for a year. And I've arranged for your mom to receive career coaching through my network." Angela was speechless. Her usual composure crumbled under the weight of Elena's generosity. I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. Elena smiled. "Thank your son. His kindness is what brought me here." As Elena prepared to leave, Jamal mustered the courage to ask, "Why are you doing all this for us?" "I mean, I'm grateful, but why?" Elena's expression softened. "When I was your age, my family was struggling, too. One day, a stranger helped my mom when we were stranded on the side of the road. That small act of kindness gave us hope when we had none. I promised myself that if I ever had the chance to pay it forward, I would." Angela placed a hand over her heart, overwhelmed by the full circle of Elena's story. "Kindness creates ripples," Elena added. "You've started one, Jamal. Never forget that." As she drove away, Jamal and his mother stood on the porch, holding each other tightly. Their lives had been changed in ways they could never have imagined, all because a young boy decided to stop and help a stranger in need. And from that day forward, Jamal carried Elena's words in his heart, vowing to spread kindness wherever he went.